Conventional wisdom suggests if you want someone to like you, do them a favor, and to gain respect, project flawless competence. But in practice, extreme generosity and absolute perfection can be socially alienating. People often pull away when they feel heavily indebted or intimidated by an unblemished image. In the 18th century Pennsylvania legislature, Benjamin Franklin faced a wealthy, bitter political rival who actively sought to block his career. Instead of groveling or debating his opponent, Franklin sent a letter asking for a specific favor. He requested to borrow a rare and curious book from the man's private library. After returning the book with a simple thank you note, that bitter rival initiated a friendly conversation on the House floor. They remained close friends for the rest of their lives. Franklin had bridged an impossible gap, not by offering a favor, but by requesting one. In 1969, psychologists John Jecker and David Landy tested this dynamic by having an experimenter act intentionally unlikable while running a trivia contest. After participants won money, the unlikable researcher privately asked a portion of them for a personal favor, to return the prize money because his own funds were running low. This forces cognitive dissonance, mental friction when our actions clash with our beliefs. It's highly uncomfortable to help someone you actively dislike. To resolve this tension, the unconscious mind rewrites the attitude. Participants convince themselves they actually liked the researcher. This mechanism scales to millions of consumers. PepsiCo launched Lay's Do Us a Flavor campaign to ask the public for their chip ideas. By having the audience do the brand a favor, they drove a 12% increase in overall sales over 5 years. Asking for assistance doesn't necessarily signal weakness. Instead, it forces the target's brain to rationalize its unhelpful behavior by forging a positive psychological bond. The same inversion applies to competence. The prevailing assumption is that highly skilled individuals must hide all their mistakes to maintain authority and respect. Psychologist Elliot Aronson tested this in 1966 by having participants listen to actors auditioning for a quiz show. One actor answered 30% of the questions correctly. The other answered 92% correctly and possessed a stellar background. At the end of the recording, the highly capable actor accidentally spilled a cup of coffee all over himself. Listeners rated that clumsy, superior actor as significantly more attractive and likable than when he made no mistake at all. Perceived perfection creates an intimidating psychological distance. A minor blunder serves as a necessary bridge that humanizes experts and establishes immediate rapport. When trying to secure a massive commitment, the logical approach is to build an overwhelming persuasive pitch to win them over all at once. But in 1966, researchers contacted housewives and asked them to answer a few brief questions about household soap. 3 days later, they followed up with a highly intrusive request, allowing 5 men to enter their home to inventory all their cupboards. Women who answered the initial soap survey were more than twice as likely to agree to the home inventory. Driven by self-perception theory, agreeing to a tiny pro-social request makes individuals unconsciously rewrite their identity to align with that action. Once that self-image shifts, they accept larger requests simply to remain consistent with the new identity they constructed. Compliance is rarely the result of a logical debate. It is more often achieved by anchoring a desired action to the target's own shifting self-image. Cognitive dissonance, calculated vulnerability, and micro-commitments rarely operate in isolation. Instead, they interact with one another, creating a cumulative pressure that makes compliance significantly more likely. There is a risk in treating these psychological mechanics simply as tools for extraction. When the goal shifts from pro-social connection to deceptive manipulation, the entire system turns fragile. This triggers reactance, a psychological backlash that occurs the moment an individual realizes their subconscious is being manipulated. Trust evaporates, often replaced by a lasting resistance to the person or brand that attempted the maneuver. Authentic influence requires transparency. The target must maintain absolute freedom of autonomy and feel they are making an independent, uncoerced choice. Human connection is not something that can be manufactured through one-sided generosity or the projection of flawless perfection. It requires mutual reliance and the courage to expose our inherent human fallibility.